Yeah, I guess it's time to have this conversation. Okay. I'm giving an L to Sherrone Moore. Now, obviously, we all know Michigan fan, Ohio State fan. I'm completely removing my Ohio State hat, right? And I just have to say, first of all, in this situation, I feel for the family. We talked about this last night. Was that last night or the night before? I can't remember. We talked about this on House Divided. Go check that out. I feel for the family. I feel for his wife and his kids because from everything that I can tell, this would have caught them completely blindsided, right? It's not something that they probably had a conversation about because from everything I can tell, Sherrone Moore in this instance feels like he lost his job, he lost his family, he lost everything, right? Again, not really so focused on Sherrone specifically in this case. I guess my question is, when married men catch a certain amount of success, right? And this doesn't apply to everybody. This is not a one-to-one, everybody's relationship, everybody's marriage or anything like that. Because this accounts for people who, I guess, just don't want to be faithful in their relationships, right? Do you not have that conversation with your wife in that instance that, like, I'm successful now. I'm
successful now.
So like,
he only been there for 2 years, but know what?
But you're the head coach of Michigan football, so you basically are known across the state.
I see where I guess I understand what you're getting at, right? Because the one thing that you're not going to convince me is that Sherrone Moore is the only one that got a girlfriend. He's the only Power 5 coach that got a girlfriend.
No,
like, that's what you're not about to tell me.
Like I told you last night, I think all of them are.
These guys are way too forward and open about their business when they're winning, for that to be the case, anyways. The thing about him and his wife, I think that, regardless of conversations that may or may not have happened or, expectations being set, I think I can pretty safely say that one of the things that wasn't expected was to be embarrassed in this fashion.
True. Facts.
All right. And so regardless of what may or may not be allowed in their household, what couldn't have been on the table is you embarrassing me and our daughters, and being drugged into a police station or a psychiatric facility. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't on the table.
Yeah.
And so, like I said on the football show, losing your job is one thing. All right, it's going to be tough to get back into work. It's going to be tough to find a position like the one you just got fired from. I mean, it's just the reality of it. But it's a whole nother situation to turn it into what it actually ended up being after the fact. Mm-hmm. And, that not only affects you, it affects your family. It affects the university. Like, I wholeheartedly believe that a lot of the smoke that Warwick Manuel is getting, even the warranted amount of it, is there because of the blowback of what happened after. Right?
Yeah.
So for him, it's going to be a rough half a year probably until people have found something else to gawk over or to meme about.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for his family. And you hate to see a guy that you rooted for, that you still, you still wish well. Just you hate to see it happen in that way. And you hate to know the fact that the entire time he brought it upon himself. That he was so blinded by his new fame, maybe his increase to his salary, that he felt untouchable. Because these actions feel like, I'm that guy, I can't be hurt.
I believe that's very popular. That's a very popular sentiment amongst coaches like that. Because again, you're talking about a coach of like Alabama, Louisiana, Georgia, and Georgia has
see
Atlanta.
If he still got an A20 rule, man.
Yeah,
glitter.
I just feel like you run a whole state in some of these cases, especially in some of these states where they don't have a pro team.
He's been the head coach for 2 years. We were talking about in terms of what he should be expecting to get away with. As a coordinator, this is nothing you would ever even dream about doing.
No.
As a head coach,
that's a head coach thing.
As a coordinator, you know of the head coach's girlfriend. You know of the opposing team's head coach's girlfriend as the coordinator. You're not thinking about you having one of those your damn self. Not until you're the guy in the seat. That's the difference between being the head coach and the coordinator. That head guy is getting away with a whole lot of stuff that the other guys on the staff are not.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel for the family because they got blindsided by it. And I just feel like if you have the self-awareness that you know, like, you're in a relationship outside of it, like, I feel like a conversation should be had to not completely blindside your family like that.
Yeah, no, man, again,
not that it's an easy conversation to be had, I guess, but, like, it's like Brian McKnight, right? Completely taking his wife and kids out of the house and telling them to move somewhere else. Like,
it's hard to make Brian McKnight look good, but I mean, no. I mean, but I don't want to have a contest between who's a better father with Sherrone Moore and Brian McKnight.
No.
I don't.
But I guess I don't like the optics of leaving that person in the dark to then have to completely
deal with all of it. Yeah. Well, okay. Let's be gracious, because they were investigated over this stuff at the beginning of the season, right? And it wasn't until recently, until she was apparently fired by Sherrone Moore earlier last week, that all of this kind of turned on its head. Mm-hmm. So let's say maybe after the investigation started, he had a conversation with her. I don't think it makes it any less embarrassing to have had what happened over the last week happen, right? You fired the lady. Apparently, somebody broke up with somebody. She's claiming that she broke up with him and he started stalking her. Mm-hmm. He's claiming that he broke up with her. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's what caused her to go and talk to the university about their relationship. Either way, there was a severing of the relationship, and then a subsequent reopening of the investigation, because it seemed like all this had kind of quieted it down, and which led to Sherrone Moore being fired and him going to her home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I guess here's where I'll leave it at is I understand how tough of a conversation that would have to be, right? That would be an insanely tough conversation to have. But feeling bad for Sherrone Moore and the family in this situation now, because of the things that Sherrone Moore has done and inflicted upon himself, a conversation could have saved some of that. If a conversation was had at that point.
It's out of well, okay, to save them embarrassment, sure.
Probably would have saved the family embarrassment.
It doesn't really change his misfortunes, though.
No. He'd still probably lose his job and his family. Mm-hmm. But it probably wouldn't be so public, and he probably wouldn't have fucking lost his mind at some point. Because at that point, he would have known what was coming. Maybe. I don't know that 100% sure, but it would lessen chances.
He reacted that way makes me think that he was in the clear. And to think that you thought you were in the clear when she's holding everything, like she has it all in her hands. Mm-hmm. That would never probably that's what drove you to be so manic in the first place, is the fact that she's holding this information and you know they're breathing on your neck. Mm-hmm. Why give it to her in the first place, bro? Yeah. Why give her that power in the first place?
Yeah.
Is the bigger issue for me. It's not how he it is how he handled everything after the fact that's blowing up. Mm-hmm. But the bigger issue for me is like, why hand her the fucking your position, your $1 million home, wife and kids. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. KJ Zakuma, that's hilarious. Brian McKnight told them repeat steps 1 through 3.